Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Monday podcast preview show in partnership with the Greyhound, the finest place to spend your pre-match. The pre-match is supposed to be all quiet and, the lull in the middle of the week set before the weekend. But there's been rather a lot going on, hasn't there?
I was going to say it's not exactly well, it's another quiet week in the world of ITFC fans, isn't it?
Oh, mate, how have you found
we had a manager going, we've had an awful performance away, and we've had players trying to fight fans and vice versa and stuff.
Oh, dear.
A new dawn.
A new dawn. When did you last come on the pod? Have we had you? I don't think we've had you on the record
not
speaking
since
about
the sacking. No.
Okay, go. Take us through from about 6:30 on Saturday night. Go.
The shock, like everyone, really. I was driving, and I think I had TalkSport or 5 Live on in my car quite low, and I'm sure I heard Paul Cook's been sacked or something. I thought that can't be right, and then obviously my phone starts lighting up with the WhatsApp group and stuff, and I was like, oh God, he has actually gone. Yeah, I guess like everybody's shocked.
Got to turn those notifications off. There, just ding, 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 ding all day, isn't it?
I think just like everybody, shock at the timing. Probably the right decision, and overall just sad because, he was such a bubbly, infectious character. He seemed to really, really get it. Everyone really, really liked him. And I think we all really, really wanted it to work, didn't we? But unfortunately, there's several sliding doors moments during his tenure. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. And I guess we have to now move on with, is it fair to say, not the most inspiring list of potential replacements as it stands at the moment?
Well, I don't know. The proof's in the pudding, isn't it? A list is one thing, and the person's ability to come in and inspire and do the job is something totally different. It's just this whole. I was talking to someone on YouTube and the word "sour" came up, and I thought it's a very good word. This whole funk around the club that, like you were saying, to be back here 3 months after
so
an optimistic.
Soon. Yeah.
So John McGreal obviously took Ipswich at Charlton, and he made it very clear in his pre-match that he was literally learning players' names on Monday in the training session. He got sold down the river there, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm guessing Sunday would have been a rest day, so we probably had them for about an hour or two on Monday morning or whatever before they headed down to Charlton on Tuesday morning. So the poor guy's had no time to do anything whatsoever, has he? And I guess that could probably be said of this weekend's game as well, because, Wednesday would have been a rest day. So they've done a bit of training yesterday, and I assume they're going to travel up sort of early doors tomorrow. So, poor John McGreal's had so little time to really put his stamp on the squad and stuff. I guess we'll come on to a bit of news of potential strikers maybe returning to the fold, but the poor guys had virtually no time to do anything.
Yeah, I agree. All I will say is you'll learn 100 times. This is a musician's adage. You'd learn 100 times more from a gig than you do from 100 rehearsals. Essentially, he'll have learned a hell of a lot from taking that game, albeit I totally agree with you. Monday would have been who's fit, how is everybody, figure out a team, little bit of shape, probably just some kind of like small-sided match or something, and then away you go, and you're literally in a game, aren't you? And needless to say, much to nobody's surprise, with all the chaos and lack of prep, it didn't go very well.
No, well, I thought we might get a bit of a response. I was a
new
bit
manager
confident.
bound, Sev.
Well, yeah, we don't do that, do we? No, I just kind of thought the players might sort of, I don't know, we had all the buzzwords from Ashton and the squad, and the tweets from people after he left on Saturday night saying we've let him down, we've got to put this right, this season isn't dead, that kind of stuff. So naively and stupidly, I kind of forgot I was an Ipswich fan for 10 minutes, and I kind of thought, we might get a bit of a reaction here, and maybe they'll show some passion and some fight, and want to improve their reputations. And obviously, we got absolutely nothing like that, did we? It was an absolute horror show. I've seen people say it was probably the worst performance of the season, and I think I have to agree with that, because it was just so passionless and so ponderous, the football, and slow, and it was just a mess, wasn't it?
It really does go to show. I remember, like, my dad used to say to me, "Oh, it's a confidence game, Ben. It's completely a confidence game." And there's moments where I'm like, he is so right. You know, it's players that have banged in 6 against Doncaster, 4 against Pompey. Add in that layer of chaos, uncertainty, all the horrible atmosphere, and can't string a pass together, can't get anywhere near Charlton. Obviously, being careful about this. What were your thoughts on the understandable frustration of the fans at the end? Perhaps certain fans and maybe one player in understandably emotional state maybe took things a little too far, but we move on. But what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you say, you can kind of understand the passion and the frustration of the guys that have gone there. 3,000 people there. Like you said a minute ago, we're back to this stage already after so much optimism, so much goodwill, and so much almost happiness, for a 6-month period, and we just feel like we're right back to where we start. But the aggression towards Nsiala was bang out of order. The guy that got on the pitch, you just that's just ridiculous. I assume he'll be identified and be banned from football grounds for life or whatever. Toto. I didn't get to watch the game. I had it on Radio Suffolk because I was on Christmas party taxi duty. But I saw, I sort of saw the clips on Twitter and stuff. I don't know if he went to clap the fans.
If that is not a movie that's trending on Netflix, Christmas Party Taxi Driver, before the end of the month, I'll be very disappointed. Sorry, go on.
I don't know if Toto went to clap the fans at the end and he just kicked off at him and he reacted to it. I don't know. We obviously got the polished statement the next day that Toto definitely wrote himself. That was obviously pushed out very quickly, and I guess we move on. But I can understand the frustrations of the fans, but there is absolutely no excuse for the abuse, the aggression, and the idiot that ran on the pitch. And also to push Walton is bizarre, isn't it? Because he's the 9 out of 10 who stopped it being 6-0. I guess when you're confronted by him or 6'3" brick house Toto Nsiala, you probably think I'll push the slightly smaller guy. But you can't do that at all.
I don't know. I can't speak for the people that were there. I know a number of Ipswich fans who don't like going to London games anymore. This is not just an Ipswich thing. By the way, I think a lot of supporters, make a day of it, and they're not driving because of there's better public transport in London, obviously with the tubes. And I dare say a lot of it is just alcohol fueled, isn't it? A bit of alcohol. Obviously, as a pod, we completely defend anybody's free speech. You want to boo, if you want to protest, as long as it doesn't cross the line, that's fine. And anyone reserves the right to do that if they deliver the message in the right way. But it just ticked over. And then, of course, it's on social media, isn't it? And
when it goes viral, and outlets are reporting horrible scenes at Ipswich games, and it's just such a shame after the happiness and the joy of the last 6 months or so. We're right back to where we started. But I guess when you're at the bottom, you can only start to move up, can't you?
It's one of those things, isn't it, as well, where you and I know I'll get accused of trying to sweep it under the carpet or whatever, but you make of it what you make of it. If you're in a bad mood and you want to be outraged by, an apology coming back or the back and forth or whatever, you will. But I just find it all a little bit, okay, fine. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. Passions were running high. Apology, fine. And remember, if they don't issue an apology, those people who want to be annoyed by that will be annoyed by it. Yeah. If they do issue an apology, those people who want to be annoyed by that will be annoyed by that. And it's that there is no good way out of this situation other than saying, okay, can we move on now? Do you understand?
It's happened. The club have issued the apology on behalf of Toto. The chap will probably get banned, the guy that ran on the pitch, etc. Now a line needs to be drawn under it, and we need to move in. Whether Toto plays at the weekend, obviously he might be taking out the firing line for a week or so. I don't know, but we all need to move on now, and it's not the kind of thing we want to associate with our club, is it?
No, not at all. Speaking of association with our club, have you tried to follow these betting lines at all for the new manager?
The ones that change every time someone sticks a tenner on it.
It's like mid-table in the Championship, isn't it?
yeah, it's crazy. Every time I look at my phone, it seems to be someone different. I think only one betting company are actually running odds on it. I logged onto the one I regularly use, and it was nowhere to be seen. So I guess that's a sign of where we are, at this stage of our history. But yeah, it seems to be changing almost on a daily basis. I think I did a bit of this script prep work yesterday, and I think since then the lead favourites changed 4 or 5 times, and new people have plummeted down the pecking order. So yeah, it's just changing left, right, and centre, isn't it?
And anyone floating your boat in there?
Well, obviously, after what Rich and Dave were saying on the post-match show after the Charlton game, that's still available on YouTube. Everyone should give it a listen. For me, Warnock, I'd like that kind of character come in and really galvanise this squad. I've got images of him making Selena his Adele Tarapt, and telling the rest of the squad, this man will get you promoted. Give him the ball.
Selena all of a sudden doesn't even have to come and train anymore.
Yeah, we're all on the ride together.
You just come on Saturday. It's fine, son. I can't do the voice.
It could be brilliant. You see the clips of him on YouTube and stuff and Twitter and stuff, the passion that he shows. And
Seb, that's always a good predictor if someone wants to get back in. He's on with Alan Brazil every morning at the moment, isn't he?
And he didn't rule it out. I've not heard it, but apparently he didn't rule it out this morning. Obviously,
Brazil must have asked him, mustn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to turn himself down. I think he was hinting that a deal to the end of the season might suit him, because I think he's planning to retire for the 5th or 6th time in the last.
I believe that when I see it.
Yeah, the last few years. So for me, I'd like that kind of figure to come in. I totally understand the point of view about wanting a builder and a philosophy, but for me, we'll do that kind of stuff when we get to the Championship. Let's just get out of this godforsaken league, and I think our best chance of doing that is with someone like him at the helm, because he'll galvanise the club, he'll bring people together. It'll be a great journey. Let's be honest. He'll either be here for the whole season or be gone after 3 or 4 days when he's had a row with somebody, and it could just be absolutely superb. Superb for the rest of the year.
Talk to me about Neil Harris and John Terry.
Yeah, obviously, Neil Harris is now the favourite, and Andy Warren's tweeted tonight saying that he is keen and he's under consideration by the club.
Let's move the betting lines again now, Andy.
Yeah, it's changed again. I mean, that's just, I don't know. It's not an inspiring appointment, is it? Let's be honest. He's got a decent track record. Obviously, he took Millwall up from League One. Did he get in the Championship playoffs with Cardiff one year, I think? And
he did with Cardiff. Yeah, he was. His best work was when he didn't get in the playoffs the year before with Millwall. They went 17 unbeaten. That was a really good side that did not. I can't swear on here. Didn't give an F. Honestly, they just attacked and pressed everybody. They were direct without being kind of. I think sometimes, Seb, direct managers get conflated with pragmatic managers, and they're not. It's like like Gareth Ainsworth. He's not pragmatic. They really attack, don't they? You were at that game, weren't you? They really put men forward and get that ball forward, don't they? I wouldn't necessarily have Neil Harris as a long ball merchant. It was very 4-4-2 with a couple of wingers, and I think he would quite like it to have been, and this will be a very dated reference, but a sort of Alex Ferguson 4-4-2 type thing. Double up on one side, don't be too risky, but counter attack and move when you get the ball. So. I just have Joe's words in my ears, Seb, about a modern forward-thinking guy who can work in a structure. And
he's more of an old-school manager, isn't he? But then I guess Warnock is as well. He's one of those that's going to want to do everything. Whereas with this new structure we've now got at the club, it's very much a head coach kind of role, and leave the other stuff to the other departments. So I don't know. It's just not an appointment that would excite me. John Terry, you said, I don't think we'll be giving it to somebody with no experience at all, will we? He's a bit of a divisive figure, and
depends how he interviews, Seb.
True, I guess he's on the Villa job, obviously, as the assistant manager, but I think it'd be a big risk to give him his first job. These owners aren't messing around; they want to get out of this league, and so if it was me, I'd be going for the not the guaranteed win, but the one that's got the highest probability. And then, by all means, once you get to the Championship, you can be a bit more ruthless, and you can appoint your Liam Manning and stuff, and your Chris Hogg, and look to really build something and push on from there. But let's just get out of this league.
Yeah. I don't know. Something in my head kind of likes it. I don't know why. At all. But it feels more down the Roy Keane type of appointment. Like, to be fair to Roy Keane, he'd had a promotion.
His record was great. And
a managerial record. Whereas someone like John Terry, it really is down to how does he interview and what are his ideas. What Ipswich fans mustn't do that Norwich fans did is fall into what I call the overcorrection hole, where they were so keen to, because of the heavy links with Frank Lampard, they were so keen to not be accused of being, dazzled by the big name, that they went completely the other way and went, we don't just want a big name for a big name's sake. And then I speak to a lot of Norwich fans doing my channel, and I said that's not the reality of what's happened. I have not heard one football fan say, I want him because he's a big name. No one thinks that. So I think sometimes, obviously, having a big name and being Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard or John Terry opens doors for you.
Yeah.
But also, I think in terms of perception, I think there's a big overcorrection. Everyone's very keen to write them off just because they don't want to appear to be seduced by the big name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and obviously some of those guys have got a great track record. Look at what Gerrard did up in Scotland. I guess that's a sliding doors moment. I don't know how if he was interviewed in 2018 along with Lampard, and we went for Hurst. But sometimes these guys can just come out of nowhere and do really, really well. But realistically, Lampard's not going to be interested here in the slightest, is he? At worst, surely he'll want.
If he didn't want to do Palace,
yeah, he'll want Championship at worst. Surely he's going to have no interest, I don't think, coming down to our league. I saw Mowbray is the latest one who's plummeted in the odds. I think he's gone from 12 to 1 to 4 to 1 or something. But they're fourth, aren't they? Yeah,
top of the form table in the Championship, and Brereton Diaz is smashing in goals every week, and they look really good, don't they?
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's not the most inspiring list, and we'll see how it plays out. I assume they're going to want the guy in for next weekend with Sunderland and the ownership group coming over, aren't they? So we should hopefully maybe see something sort of early-ish next week.
In terms of that word inspiring, though, Seb, we do need to remember, as much as we think we're a big deal, we do need to remember where we are as well.
Oh, yeah. We? Yeah, like I said, that's reflected, isn't it, in the list? You look at the list of candidates, and it's very much an uninspiring list, but that just shows where we are. We are a mid-table League One side. Okay, we've got the investment behind us, and I guess that's attractive to some people, but, we're a big club. Hopefully we've still got a bit of pull and a bit of draw to us, but we can't attract those, higher caliber managers anymore, given where we are.
And just to cover our backside, Seb, we are recording at 8:27 on Thursday night. If any news has transpired since we've had this discussion, we didn't know. It hasn't happened yet, okay? So we're just speculating. And I think people need to be very humble in their assessment sometimes. We don't know, do we? It's a lot of guesswork, and I would like to have a little sneak at Mark Ashton's phone is all I would say, and see some of the texts and messages and emails that he's actually sending and what discussions are actually happening. Anyway, we've got a game to talk about, Seb, and it's not a very easy one. Would you like to talk about former FA Cup winners Wigan?
Well, obviously, after you've had a bit of a shock show against Charlton, and you've got no official manager and things are up in the air, I guess you want a nice, easy game, don't you? And unfortunately, we definitely don't have that this weekend. I was doing the research and trying to find crumbs of comfort, as I call them. Sometimes things stand out to you. You can see, oh, well, they conceded a lot of goals and this, and this, but Wigan are just they are absolutely purring at this stage, aren't they? They won last night, played last night, so they're second in the Championship, joint top. Championship League One, joint top with Rotherham, but they've got a game in hand over Rotherham as well. So they're absolutely flying. 41 points for the season. They've scored 36 goals, conceded 17. The only crumb of comfort I can find is that their home form isn't that amazing. They're amazing away from home, but their home form is sort of 9th, 10th or so, I think it is in the league. Yeah, so they're not amazing at home.
Back-to-back wins though, Seb.
Yeah, but they have lost 3 there. They've lost to Sheffield Wednesday, MK Dons, and Lincoln. So 19 points from home. We've taken 17 at Portman Road as a measure of comparison. But yeah, they are absolutely purring, and Liam Richardson's really got them firing, hasn't he?
Who's this Liam Richardson you speak of?
Well, I think he'd apparently be quite good as an assistant manager. He's apparently does all the defensive work at Wigan and stuff. No, he's done really, really well. Let's be honest. He was appointed caretaker when Paul Cook left in August 2020, just before the start of the League One season, after they were relegated and the squad was kind of decimated and picked apart. They then appointed John Sheridan for a couple of months. I think he was there 2-3 months, from September to November 2020. He goes. Richardson comes back in and gets the job, and he's absolutely done brilliantly. They survived last season on 48 points. points when most people had them, guaranteed to go down, a la Bolton the year before when they had their squad decimated. And he's just done brilliantly. He's been, since he was made permanent, he's got an average points per game of 1.87. He's absolutely flying. And, he was Cook's right-hand man.
Like top four, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so. He's Cook's right-hand man, as we all know. It's one of those sliding doors moments like Lambert and Culverhouse. We'll never know what could have been. I think we were all fairly shocked last April, weren't we, when Wigan sent out the tweet and the update saying he'd signed a permanent deal, and it really, really put a spanner in the works. But they're absolutely flying. They're doing really, really well.
Do you want to talk to me about some individuals, Seb? There's that's the team from the other night against.
Yeah, so they played last night against Shrewsbury, and they actually they were quite lucky. Night? Yeah, they were quite lucky to win it. It was a 25-yarder in the 92nd minute to win the game. They won 2-1. They played 4-2-3-1, obviously being a Paul Cook apprentice.
I thought that strategy didn't work.
Good old coaching, eh? Yeah, so 4-2-3-1. Fullbacks like to bomb on. It's all the things we've been saying.
Oh, really?
To see. Yeah, it's all the things we've been expecting.
What an original idea, Seb.
The last 9 months or so. You've got your the double pivot in central midfield who will just sit there and mop it up and swing the balls out wide. And then the quality is the front three and whoever plays up top, obviously. So they brought in a fair few transfers in the summer. The takeover went through towards the end of last season, I think, didn't it? So they were able to go out and bring in some well-known names. So you've got Ben Amos in goal. He's established himself as the first choice keeper after joining from Charlton. Gwion Edwards, obviously,
been around donkey's years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he came through Man United's academy, didn't he? And he's one of those perennial loanees out, and then sort of gets a couple of Championship gigs and League One gigs. But he started every game there so far this season. Obviously, we know about Gwion Edwards. He's not starting for them. He's only started 2 games this season. Obviously, Paul Cook offered him a deal, but he turned it down and wanted to go up there. He has scored, but only started 2 games. He's not a first choice player up there. Jack Watmough joined from Portsmouth to add some real quality and solidity at the back. And then they went to Sunderland, didn't they, and signed Charlie Wyke and Max Power. I think we were linked with both, definitely Charlie Wyke, and I think we were linked with Max Power as well. They've both come in. Charlie Wyke, obviously unavailable. He's had a medical issue from a couple of weeks ago where it sounds like he had a cardiac arrest at the training ground, and Liam Richardson had administered CPR and saved him from what the reports are saying. So obviously we wish him well. He scored 5 goals in 15 games. He was doing okay before his injury. Max Power is one of the main creators of the team with 1 goal and 6 assists. He's been slotting in at right back recently due to injuries and stuff, but he was suspended last night, and I assume he'll come straight back in to start against us on the weekend. James McLean, I guess you'll know him from your Championship stuff. Yeah, been there before, rejoined the club from Stoke.
Been there before in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, some really big money moves. Didn't he have a big money move to West Brom at one point, and then to Stoke and stuff? Yeah, he's playing well this season. 5 goals, 2 assists from the left-hand side. So, they've recruited really, really well this summer. I remember thinking at the time, I thought they had the best transfer window other than us in the summer. And I'll be honest, when you look at where we are now and versus them, they clearly got their recruitment absolutely spot on, didn't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a few other names that are just jumping off the page there. Darikwa, I remember tearing us a new one for Forest under Lambert, the right back. Joe Bennett, I'm surprised Mick didn't fancy him at Cardiff. He was sort of ushered out. I think I'm getting the right Bennett.
That's it. Yeah, he must have been injured when he signed because it was his first game of the season.
He had a nasty injury last season, Seb.
Okay, yeah, so he must have been recovering, and it was his first start of the season last night against Shrewsbury.
Cousins, is he on loan from Stoke? I've definitely seen him playing in the Championship.
They've signed him, I think, permanently, but again, he's been one that's had a bad injury, so he started the last couple. So expect him to start in the double pivot alongside, it's Naylor, isn't it? Is their other one who sits in the midfield? Tom Naylor, yeah, he's the guy that sits in the midfield. So they've got some real quality there, and like us, they've been able to attract players to drop down from a much higher level.
And Will Keane just smacks of David McGoldrick, this player where we'll watch him and think, well, you're good. I can see that you're a good player, but could never get him on the pitch. And evidently other clubs can.
Yeah, like you said, it's exactly like McGoldrick, isn't it? We had him a couple of times on loan and we signed him permanently. He did all right, didn't get a run of games really, scored, 5-6 goals maybe. But this year he's played every single game and he's currently their top scorer with 9 goals and 5 assists. When Wyke was fit, he was playing in the number 10 role. And that's where we never really saw him there for us, did we?
They tried it a few times. I liked it because he's kind of a hybrid 9-10, 9.5, isn't he?
And his touch was so good, and his awareness and bringing others into play and stuff, so they've certainly managed to get a tune out of him. And last night, Callum Lang, he's their right forward, their right attacker. He's got 7 goals and 4 assists so far this season. He played through the middle last night because of the injury to Wyke and the absence of Max Power, I think, to slot into the number 10/attacking midfield role. So it'll either be Keane back up front leading the line against us, or they might go Lang up top again and Keane in the number 10 role. But yeah, he's done really well there, hasn't he?
Comparisons are just startling with us, aren't they? Obviously, they had the horrible time with the takeover in the Championship and like being immediately put into administration. I think they had quite a good manager in the Championship, although I can't quite recall who it was. But they seem to have gone very heavy on salary, from what I hear about Wyke and McLean particularly. I know we've done the same, and as you pointed out, Seb, it hasn't quite gone as well. But for all of those people who think Ipswich signed too many players, they're probably citing Wigan as the example for the right amount of players to sign, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was 10 players coming in. What were we? Were we 19 in the end, or 20? Something like that, wasn't it? 19 or 20 arrivals.
Basically, 20 out, 20 in, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've had 10 come in. 8 have left them. Obviously, Lee Evans is the standout one that moved on. He looks like a really good sort of box-to-box Championship solid player. Who can fire balls out wide. So wherever he's gone, I guess he's probably doing a really good job there. But yeah, they're just a really good side. Like I said, they've scored.
Today's Blue Monday is sponsored by sarcasm.
36 goals so far this season, so 1.9 goals per game. They create 2.1 big chances per game and score 1.9 games. They're pretty clinical with the chances they create. They're a side that like to keep the ball, so 57.3% possession is the norm. They average 362 short passes. They are not a long ball side by any means. I guess when you've got Charlie Wyke up front, the temptation would be there to sort of hit him, from the back or whatever, but they seem to like to play the short game. Defending only conceded 17 goals after the one last night, which is 0.9 goals per game, and they've kept 8 clean sheets so far this season. So they are really, really looking a really, really solid bet for, well, I assume the top 2 really. It's got to be surely them or Rotherham to go back up, isn't it?
The more I watch League One, Seb, it's far more so than the Championship. You really have to be a hybrid of a modern side and an old school side, don't you? In the Championship, I think you can knock the ball about a lot and win more games than you lose if you do it well. But this is obviously where we've completely fallen down, because we've just never a hybrid of a side that can handle themselves and play. Whenever you hear old Graham Souness talking, he always says that. He says, I'm a better player than you, but I'll also beat you in a fight, as well. And really like that in League One now, isn't it? And I suppose with teams like Rotherham and Wickham, who pretty much nail that, don't they? They're good, but they can handle themselves. I'd put Wigan in that bracket as well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got some real sort of physical presence and stuff, and they can mix it. I'm sure we heard Paul Cook at one of these fans forums say that the easiest way to do well in League One is a long diagonal to a tall striker who will then knock it down for his strike partner or one of the 3 behind him to get involved. So sometimes we can overcomplicate football, can't we? And sometimes, like you said, a hybrid of being a modern day passing side bombing on full-backs does need to be replaced with a simple long ball forward to the guy to hold up to it and bring others into play.
It's knowing when to do each, and having players that you trust to make that decision, rather than just having a completely nailed down pattern of play that you have to do every time. And I know we always allude back to, John McGreal, go figure, and Mark Venus knowing, no, do you know what? I'm going to go long. Let's get up the pitch. Let's hit Richard Naylor or James Scowcroft or whatever. So there we go. We're not advocating long ball football, but we're in League One and we understand the premise that you have to mix it. Before we go to your fact of the week, Seb, is there anything else there on Wigan? I'm sure everyone's already. This feels like one of the ones that Harry used to do when we in 18-19, when we were absolutely terrible, and every week it was Yeah, look, the opponents are quite a lot better than us.
That is very much what it is, I'm afraid. I mean, in terms of what to expect from them, they like to attack down the right. You know, Callum Lang's been out there for most of the season, and Diawakra has got a good understanding with him, so they like to get down the right. So whether or not we'll see Danasi in at left back again, I'm not so sure. Consistent team selections, you know, they're very much a 4-2-3-1. I guess you could argue there's no sort of real plan B, but their plan A is working so well at this stage, they don't really need one. They're quite an aggressive side. They've had 44 yellows so far. Like I said, Max Powell was suspended last night, so they do like to, you know, they're not they're a bit fouly, and they'll put themselves about and let teams know that they're going to be in for a bit of a battle. They're quite mentally strong. This is quite interesting. I thought they've come back from losing positions and won 7 points after going behind, so they're almost the exact opposite to us.
Talking about a late goal last night as well.
Yeah,
they do that, don't they?
They do. They keep going, don't they? They like to attack from wide positions, averaging 22 crosses per game. So the likes of Edmondson, and if NCR is playing alongside him, or if Wolfenden or Burgess come in.
Well, when you say that, NCR is good at that headed kick it stuff, isn't he?
Yeah, or Burgess, I guess, potentially to add some extra physicality back there. But yeah, the only crumb of comfort I can give people is that the home form isn't that amazing. It's, you know, it's lower high part of the table, and they've only scored 14 goals at home. They score a lot more goals away than they do at home. So we'll take those couple of crumbs of comfort, shall we?
Remind me, we'll go to your fact of the week, Seb, but remind me, we'll talk about, seems a bit of a moot point. Well, we've got a caretaker manager, but we'll talk about what you think we should do in just a sec. But let's just go to your fact of the week, Seb, and I need to press this button.
Bloody video. Everyone probably knows this one. It's a fact of the week, but I'm sure everyone knows it. Wigan are the only side to ever win the FA Cup and be relegated in the same season. Never happened before. 2012, 2013. Obviously, Ben Watson wins in the FA Cup with a 92nd minute header or whatever it was against Man City. And obviously, they're relegated.
Few games, Seb, I've been a neutral and I jumped out of my seat and celebrated the goal that way. I got nothing against Man City, but it was great, wasn't it?
Relegated in the same season. So I remember afterwards, a lot of when they went down, I seem to remember either Sky or BBC or somebody interviewing Wigan fans, and they were saying stuff like, you know, would you have accepted this at the start of the season to be relegated but to win the FA Cup? And the vast majority said yes. You know, we're now FA Cup
dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great day out, and I guess at that stage you assume you'll come straight back up because you've got that confidence. But yeah, that's the fact of the week this week.
And same Wigan side, one of two teams to be relegated with a parachute payment later. That was in the 4 years of the parachute payments. But I don't want to jump on that soap horse. But I was quite pleased to hear Rick Parry's comments today. He was very bullshit about it. I know we're going to get tweets about this. So Middlesbrough got to 2 cup finals and got relegated. Am I right? Under Brian Robson in the season where they didn't show up at Blackburn. We're talking 95, 90,
yeah, 96
possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Brighton.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you remember Brighton against Manchester United? And Smith must score. David Diamond would tell me the year, everything. They got relegated, and he had that big chance to win the cup, didn't he? So yeah, I think people have come very, very close without doing it. Again, it's a ridiculous question that's probably a waste of your breath answering on the basis that it'll likely be John McGreal's last game or penultimate game, and we're not really building to a lot. What do you expect him to do?
Well, again, like we said,
he's had deep knowledge of John McGreal's tactical profile.
he's had no time at all, has he? So surely there can't be anything dramatic to change. I think Lee Johnson before the Sunderland game a couple of weeks ago was interviewed, and they said, you know, why aren't you changing formations and tactics? And I think he said it took something like 6 solid training sessions or something to start to implement a new tactic and familiarity. So I'll be astounded if it's anything other than 4-2-3-1, surely.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd love a 3 at the back. I would love 3 at the back with, you know, Vincent Young and Danasian, I guess, playing as the wing backs. And then, you know, you could have Selena in the hole if he's fit, or Chapman in the hole just behind Piggott and Bond. And I think that would lend itself really well to our squad. You could get Wolfenden in there for you're building out from the back quickly. You could have Edmondson in the centre as your organiser and your physical presence. And then Burgess used to play on the left at Accrington. So, you know, he gives you more physical presence again. And I'd love to see that, but I just can't see it happening given the relatively short time that McGreal's had to work with them.
It's just frustrating, isn't it, Seb? I remember Jose Mourinho when it would have been between Man United and Spurs. He went on Sky for a while. He was absolutely brilliant, the most overqualified pundit you've ever known in your life. But he did this brilliant sort of soliloquy on philosophy versus shape. And if your philosophy is down, you can change shape to anything. Do you know? I know, obviously you have players that fit certain positions, but I take his point that if you broadly, everyone knows what they're doing and knows the way the manager wants to set up and play, it shouldn't be hard to block out midfield or stick an extra centre half in like you're talking about.
Well, we saw it under Burley. You said it on the flagship, didn't you? We saw it under Burley. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one player slightly changes position, and we can go from a 3-5-2 for 4 years, getting promoted, to suddenly playing 4-4-2 in the Premier League effortlessly because they know what's.
I've seen Neil Warnock when I watched Cardiff put Sol Bamba in midfield. Just stick a centre half in midfield, fill up the space, just tweak slightly. You're not telling me Sol Bamba is Andrew Pirlo, are you? For goodness sake! But there's obviously a very clear, right, you need to go in there and stop this happening or whatever. And I know Paul Cook was all about, we'll play this way and this is what we'll do. But we're in a situation temporarily where we're completely rudderless going away to a very, very decent team. And perhaps stopping them might just be short term. I'm not saying I want us to play like that forever, but, maybe just make it hard and be competitive. And I hate to sound like Mick McCarthy, but nick a goal. Do you know what I mean?
Do all the things we didn't do on Tuesday night, you mean? Make yourselves, make it hard and scrap for it and let them know that they're in a game, kind of go back to basics a little bit. I think there will be changes. There has to be, surely. I can't see, surely Morsey and Evans aren't going to start in the central midfield positions. I'd like to see Al Mazzuni come in. He said Burns and Coulson today are still a little bit away, aren't they? So we won't be seeing them, but the Donatian experiment at left back didn't really work, did it? Whereas he used to play Vincent Young at left back when he was at Colchester, so maybe they'll swap flanks. I don't know.
Did Morsey and Evans ever play together at Wigan?
I presume so. Yeah, they must have done.
Probably didn't they? Yeah,
they must have done.
I'm trying to remember. I just remember the good Championship team. I think Evans went off somewhere and then came back, didn't he? He
only made about 20 or 25 appearances. The year they got put into administration and Taker and stuff. He only played roughly half the games.
Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to get me me years in a row.
They were so poor, weren't they? The two of them, they were so bad against Charlton that surely one of them will drop out and either maybe bring in Tom Carroll and his bit of quality and guile and his bit of calmness on the ball. Maybe that could be there. Or El Mazzuni, who likes to put himself about and has done really well every time he started this season. Or,
like you say, the third man to ditch the 10 and stick an 8 in there and block it up. But you've just told me the attacking profile is to move the ball down one side, so you might just get missed out in central midfield if they're good at that. Anyway, God, I'm depressing myself now. How's it come to this?
We just want to see a better performance, don't we? If we were to lose 1-0, but give it a real go, show some quality, show some passion. If we're a bit unlucky, I think we'd all kind of take that at this point, because we know that at the minute, things are what they are, and we are rudderless, so to speak. The worst thing will be if we go there, concede early, and then if we get done 3 or 4, then we might see a repeat of the kind of scenes that we saw post-match at Charlton.
Well, weirdly, it's almost the defeat at Charlton does allow John McGreal to say things like you've just said. Look, play for pride. I need to see you get up that pitch, win tackles, stick one on you, all of that real basic stuff that fans always say. But, it might make them go to that base level. And that all these cliches about earning the right to play, you never know. They might land on the ball even more. And then all of a sudden, you are in possession more often. So that performance might expedite McGreal saying that sort of thing. Look, don't disgrace yourself, and by God, just go and fight. Obviously, it's not a viable strategy for a whole season, is it?
No, but as a one-off game, if he knows he's likely to be replaced next week, he's got nothing to lose by saying that, has he? And if he gets a bit of improvement out of them, and they show something, then at least he can say he made a difference for the second game he had in charge.
Yes. Right, Seb, we got some plugs to do before we go to room 101. Can I hand over to you for this? We've got Greyhound, we've got an interview, and we've got a giveaway.
Yeah, sure. So obviously the Greyhound is the Prematch show sponsor. So get yourselves down there. So we're not at home this week, but there's still absolutely no reason not to go down there. Superb venue. Sit outside in the car park with the heaters on in the little pods. Great range of food. Great range of beers. I assume they'll be updating their menu now that Paul Cook's gone, and I guess they're awaiting the new manager to bring out whatever kind of sausage or lasagna-based meal will be based around whoever joins us. So get yourselves down there. Superb venue. And obviously next weekend before the Sunderland game, get yourselves down there as well.
Trying so hard to do a John Terry food pun. Maybe if you give me another 10 minutes. But and the interview with Abby Lafayette.
Yeah, obviously Richard's done an interview with Abby. We sponsor her on the Blue Monday, so get yourselves on there. It's a really great interview. It's it's a side of the club that's just so positive, so successful, so positive. It's a stark comparison to the men's team. So give it a listen and get behind that one. And we also have a giveaway as well for the Paul Mariner book. Obviously, Rich did the interview with the author. We've got 2 copies to give away. He's tweeted it out tonight. I think he's put it on Facebook as well. All you have to do is like the video. So retweet the tweet that he's put out tonight. Leave a comment on the video and quote your Twitter alias on this so we know who you are. Or take a picture of your comment and pop it in the replies. And I think he's announcing the winner on Saturday night. I think it is.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah. So you can win yourself a copy of the Paul Mariner book by Mark Donaldson. And also, obviously, you can go and check that interview out as well. Maybe get the best of both worlds. Maybe win the book. But yeah, do please leave your name in there. We've done these giveaways before, Seven. We have no idea. And you try and contact people via YouTube or whatever, and ain't happening, is it? Right. Shall we go to room 101, Seb? I like to move it, move it. Sounds like, who sang that? I like to move it. Who sang the original of that? I like to move it. I can't think. Someone tweet me tomorrow who sang the original I like to move it. Oh, I'm going to need to Google it in a minute. Here are the football 101. Don't look at me down the bottom league tables there. Seb, with a points per game of 0.45. My points per game, Seb, is 0.00 because
was yours? Yours was the.
It's just me moaning about football fans, which is exactly what I'm going to do again. Despite the fact I spend all day, every day talking to them. But no, I thought you were very disrespectful because it was my first go on Room 101, and you came in with "I follow," and I remember you saying, "Oh, my choice is," and I'm like. Point. That's like getting a red card after 2 minutes, isn't it? I'm not going to win this one.
I should have kept. I try and keep the big guns when I take on Rich because also we're quite competitive between the two of us. So I probably should have kept that one for a home banker. I thought I'd win it last time out with short corners. I thought that's going to be a guaranteed win, but he absolutely destroyed me with his lack of time wasting being punished by referees. It wasn't even close. I think it was like 75-25% or something. So yeah, you don't always know.
Far be it for me to plug another podcast, but there's a podcast with a journalist and with Keith Hackett. Do you remember Keith Hackett, the old UEFA referee?
The ref, yeah.
And all of that stuff that you're talking about gets brought up, shepherding the ball out, time wasting and not getting punished. And you actually realise it from the ref's point of view, particularly with these informal laws that have just allowed to get a little bit out of hand, bit by bit by bit by bit, and time wasting is certainly one of those. Right. Well, do you want to go first then, Seb, with your selection for Room 101? See if you can beat me again.
I can do, yeah. So this week I've gone for this new offside rule. I think it came in a couple of years ago. The rule where if a player is offside, the flag stays down, the player runs through, gets his shot off, and either the keeper saves it or he misses or he scores the goal. And then, it comes back and the linesman puts his flag up and we see the replay and he was miles offside. I don't understand why. If it's tight, I understand. But if some of them are so obvious, just put your flag up. And the reason it's irked me, I was watching the Man United Arsenal game a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was Ronaldo was through and he had the shot and it went out for a corner. I think it came off one of the Arsenal defenders.
They don't pull it back, do they? It's a new
the ref
phase.
gave the corner. Yeah, he gave the corner, but on the replay, he was miles offside. So if United then score from the corner, then they'd be held to play. So I don't understand why we have this new rule. The offside rule seemed to be okay for years. So if it's blatant, why not just stick your flag up and stop the play straight away, so everyone in the stadium knows what's going on, and everyone who's watching on telly and can't see that, it's straight away it's being pulled back, knows what's going on as well. It's a stupid rule, and go back to the old one for me.
Ronaldo's clever though, isn't he? Because he knows he's like 5 yards offside. So if I let the guy catch up and kick it off him, we're going to get
the corner and we play on.
I think that's quite a good shout. It's rubbish, that rule. I can see why they brought it in for the tight one, so you don't get that one where the flag goes up, the guy sticks the ball in the net, and he should have been offside. But
tight calls are absolutely fine. By all means, let it go. But it's every offside, isn't it? And sometimes they're so far offside, it's ridiculous. And even the players kick off about it sometimes. The player will shoot, get the whistle goes, gets pulled back, and the players will almost look at the linesman and say, just put your flag up straight away.
To give David Diamond some credit, which I don't like to do, I think it's a very bad idea, in fact. He's been saying for years, because he sits right behind the lino on the, so it'd be on the right, on the dugout side in the Pioneer. So he really watches what the linesman's kind of up to. He's been saying for years that their power has been gradually taken away. And like you've just said with this, you get to the point of, well, if he's not going to flag for an offside and we've got 20 cameras around here,
what's the point?
What's the point now? What are they adding? And we all agree refs need help, but it's essentially taking responsibility away from a linesman isn't really what. That's a good call. My Room 101 suggestion, Seb, is three words which apparently solve any losing football team in England, or from a tweet I saw the other night, I think it was like in Turkey or somewhere. 2 up top. Get 2 up top. So you've just spent a lovely old time telling me how good Wigan are at playing a 4-2-3-1. It strikes me that, and we love football fans, but often people in situations where maybe they don't quite understand what's going on, they like to simplify, don't they? And make it into a single factor analysis, And it seems to me that the way of solving, I'm always having to go with Dave about this one, the way of solving anything, you need to play 2 up top, don't you?
Fixes everything.
Fixes absolutely everything. 2 up top. Sometimes that argument has some merits. If you are getting good possession wide and maybe you're a little bit light in the box, but just to me, the premise that a well executed 4-2-3-1 is not as good as a 4-4-2, when clearly there'll be more people in the box, and if it's done well, and the preeminent manager of our generation, he literally doesn't care who he plays number 9, does he? Played Jack Grealish number 9 the other night, for God's sake. So do you agree with me, Seb, that it's ridiculous that whenever there's and I go on Twitter and loads of fans that needs to just play 2 up top. that will sort it. Just get 2 up top on, and then we're sorted.
I do agree with that one. I have to say that's quite a good shout as well, because obviously every top club in the world plays 1 up front, so it's clearly the best system to score the most goals and win the most games. And you just gave Guardiola as an example. Sometimes he doesn't play any kind of striker. He's almost got a flat 3 and no one at the
6 midfielders, basically.
Yeah. So no, that's a very good shout. And to be fair, that might give me a run for my money this week.
Nah, I'm eminently dislikable, Seb.
Well, I've got Dave's vote straight away, haven't I? So I've got 1. So straight away, as soon as that goes out, if Dave can find it on Twitter, I've got that one straight away.
Oh dear, I do say that with the full understanding that I know tactics are cyclical. So tiki taka. What's the remedy for that? It's Klopp, isn't it? And play faster and get the ball direct. So we will get 2 up top, and we'll probably get 4-4-2 back at some point when, once everybody takes the third man out of central midfield, everyone else will have to follow suit. But I think it might be a few years. Lovely stuff, Seb. I'm glad we kept that light today in the wake of our manager being fired and the near right at the end of our abject defeat 3 months after our wonderful takeover, and it's all going to hell in a handbasket. But Seb, if we're sat here next week, have we hit the emergency pod button? And some people have had to run away from work and their children and leave their food in the oven to talk about a new Ipswich manager.
Surely, yeah. The ownership are going to want him in before Sunderland, aren't they? So I'm kind of hopeful that. Well, I guess the annoying thing now, we've got Barrow, haven't we, on Wednesday night? So that's kind of thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, because
on TV as well.
I know it's got smells of Lincoln all over again, hasn't it? But I guess you'd want the manager to have the full week. So I don't know if they just send the kids up to Barrow and don't take it seriously. I don't know, but surely we'll get some sort of announcement. Maybe Monday afternoon, Tuesday. I don't know. I've just
got a message from an in the know contact, Jonathan Terrence. Jonathan Terrence has apparently been spotted in Ipswich. I don't know who he is. He's a new name to me, Jonathan Terrence. But there you go. So that all sounds very South Park. Right, we've got about 1 million plugs here. Thank you to the Greyhound who sponsor this show. Obviously, thank you to, where are you on Twitter, Seb?
At BrownS08.
Far less irritating than me. I'm at Benjamin Bloom, who's always trying to tweet and promote stuff the whole time. More importantly than both of us is the Blue Monday brand, at Blue Monday ITFC on Twitter, where you can find details of the Paul Mariner book giveaway, the Paul Mariner book author interview. Even if I do say so myself, I think we've been across everything as it's been happening. There's been more content that you can shake a stick at. I know the news cycle moves quickly, but if you want to check back, and not even for our reactions, but the stream with Richard and Craig straight after Paul Cook went, you can get a real good barometer of the fan reactions, because they all appear on the screen as we go. So I think that's well worth checking out. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and Abby Lafayette interview came out. Was it earlier today or was it yesterday? God,
last night, I think. Last night, wasn't it? And we've got the website as well, www.bluemondayiTFC.co.uk. I've got to get them all in, or he'll shout at me as soon as I sign off. Rich will start shouting me via text message. So
me too. When are you going to put him in room 101?
I was going to put ITFC in room 101 this week. I texted you, didn't I? Yesterday we were messaging saying what time we're going to record, and I said I've got a 101. I'm just going to put Ipswich Town Football Club in, and I probably would have won, wouldn't I? Let's be honest.
You'd have won with a landslide, wouldn't you? Seb, brilliant stuff. Are you still planning to go to Barrow, or are you going to wait and see what the prevailing mood is?
I was, but when it came out saying it was 20 quid a ticket, I'm just being lazy, because I got a ticket for Anfield the next night. So I'm going to watch Liverpool play Newcastle on the Thursday.
Oh, awesome.
So given the choice of the two, it was a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest with you.
Hey, our listeners are going to hate this because we're talking about going to watch that. I saw Liverpool play at Watford earlier. I was working, to be fair, so I'm far more worthy than Seb in going to this. He's doing it for pure pleasure. But Salah, if he plays well, is you'll very, very, very much enjoy watching him in the flesh. And are you along the sides or behind the goal?
No,
the fullbacks
in the stand that they built up. So I'm in that stand, I think, quite up high, but yeah.
You're up in the gods.
Yeah, it should be decent.
Yeah, should be good. Some Eddie Howe, but you can get Steve Bruce, but no, you're not. You're going to get Eddie Howe, but there you go. Right, thank you everybody for watching. This has been the preview show. We'll be playing Wigan, obviously, on Saturday. And who is it? Is it Mikey, Craig, and Joe? I think
definitely Mikey and Craig. I'm not sure if Joe's on it. I don't think he can watch the game, can he? So I don't know. It'll be tweeted out. Obviously, get your questions in at full time.
Yeah, absolutely. And bear with us. There's been quite a lot to do in podcast land in Ipswich Town. And this goes back a couple of years now, not just the last few weeks. Right. Thank you very, very much for joining us, Seb. And we will see you all very soon.